and thank you for joining me on Tea with Fee. I'm Fee and this is Make It So HQ. And this week I am going to have a chat to you about my accountability from last week and how I got on. And I wanted to talk a little bit about my sewing workshop that I have and the different items that we make in the sewing group as part of the Sew Like a Pro programme, which gets you from not being able to use your sewing machine at all to feeling quite confident at the end. And I just thought I would share some of the items that get made during that process. So grab yourself a drink and get yourself comfy, maybe get a craft project of your choice, and let's just have a little chat and catch up. So the first thing I should really mention is, where did I get to with last week's challenge? So last week I set myself the challenge on Tea with Fee that I would have finished the blue lady on the cross stitch, and stretch target was to complete the whole of that strip. So there is good news and there is bad news. So the good news is the blue lady is complete and she's looking pretty good from that angle. The stretch target wasn't completed, as you can see, and there's several reasons for that. One reason being that it's actually the only time I really get to do my cross stitches of an evening or at afternoon tea. And by night time, it's quite dark, and even though I've got a craft light, the way I sit, it's kind of like in the way of James's line of sight and can be a bit annoying for him depending on which angle I've got it at. So that's not ideal. And I'm also now using quite a light colour against a light background. And this bit in here, which I've not started yet, is lighter again. So I'm finding it a little bit hard going. But I'm super proud of myself for getting this far. And I'm still on track to have this finished by the end of February. So I'm not sure if I mentioned that last week, but my plan is to have this finished by the end of February. So that is coming along nicely. Now, one of the things that was mentioned to me this week from somebody who'd watched Tea with Fee last week was that they had never thought to actually colour in the squares on the pattern as they do them. So I just didn't know if that was just a passing comment I had made last week that she'd picked up on, or whether it was something that I actually should just mention a little bit more out there in case somebody else has just missed it and realised, oh, that's like actually a game changer. So all I do is I print the pattern off on printer paper, enlarge it a little bit if you can, because the original one was quite small. This was out of a magazine and my friend Betty gave me it. So if I can show you, I think it might be the same size actually. So it's probably like for like, but it means that I can actually colour it in on this one without wasting the original. What I wouldn't recommend, and I didn't do, there was no system or anything, but as you can see, this is multicoloured and it's falling apart. That's because it's been on the go for so long. So I wouldn't recommend this colour-coded system. That is not intentional. I literally just stuck to now a bog standard pencil and I just colour in each square or row as I've done it. And then it makes it really easy to follow. And if for whatever reason you could rub it out if it was in pencil, if you had coloured in the wrong thing. So that works really well for me, and maybe it'll work really well for you. So I just thought I would pick up on that point as it had been mentioned to me. So thank you for that comment. Julie also mentioned on her comments about how to print it off your phone, and I tried to explain that in the comments, but without being able to do a video of me with my phone, and I don't have a camera other than the camera on my phone, that's a bit tricky. So I might need to video somebody else doing it. So I might do that for next week. That could be a plan. So yeah, so I just like to give you a little update. So yes, progress has been made. Not as much as I would like, but progress has been made nonetheless, and we will celebrate that victory. I'm also going to have a chat to you about what everybody's making, which will tie in nicely with the Sew Like a Pro program of projects. That's not easy to say. Anyway, so I put a post out in the last week just saying that I'm starting up another brand new beginners Sew Like a Pro session, 10 till 12 on a Tuesday morning. And I just thought I would take the opportunity to talk through what we learn during that program. So the first thing that we make is a book bag, and that's the only thing that I don't have an example of. I use mine as a peg bag, and it's in the house, and I'm obviously not in the house. So I didn't think that far ahead to go and get, here's one we made earlier, but I have in true Blue Peter fashion got all the other ones. So week 1, you make a project bag, book bag is week 1. Week 2, you'll have seen this in the last couple of videos. This is my project bag. So if I just demonstrate, and I have demonstrated this on Tea with You before, how much stuff you can get in. This is fantastic. So this is a reversible bag. And this is normally completed over a couple of sessions because you're effectively making 2 bags and sewing them together. And the skills that you learn are sewing round cords, round curves, and just the whole sewing 2 bits together and turning it through and top stitching. So that's what you learn during this process. These are like my all-time favourite bags. I use them for everything, so I definitely think that this is a brilliant project to have in your pattern stash, that you can just whip them up, and you can also change the sizes, so they actually can be made quite easily into like a bottle gift bag. So that's also quite good. And one of the things that you'll learn through sewing lessons is your confidence will grow. And what you find is you get the pattern for this in week 2 and you're following it to the letter because you're a little bit nervous and you're not quite sure. And by week 10, you're thinking, well, actually, I could do this to this pattern and make it a different size. And you've got that confidence to try that, which you didn't have on week 1. And that's a fabulous part of the journey. And I really love watching people's journeys getting to that stage. So that's the second project. Then we move on to the scrap bag and pin cushion. And what you'll find is that all the things that we make have got a use. So I try to make the things that we are going to make something that you will be able to use either as part of your sewing experience or just generally. So the bags you can use, brilliant as a bag for life for shopping. The scrap bag, which is next up, is reversible, and I do like a bit of reversible. I'm pretty sure this is next. They might not be exactly in the right order, but these are all the things that we make. So this is a scrap bag. It's also really good if you've got a standard sewing machine, then your sewing machine foot will also fit in here, and then that makes it really easy to store your sewing machine foot, because you don't get, quite often sewing machines come with a cover, but they don't come with anything to put the foot in. So this actually works, doubles up quite nicely to do that. As part of the same project, we also make a pin cushion. Now, I've adapted my pin cushions since the original plan, and we made them because it doesn't fit. Because I've now got a machine that's got buttons on the front, like computerized on the front, I can't really have the pin cushion round the front of the machine, which is the design of it. So I've kind of modified it for my own uses, and again, this is something that you can do as well. Once you have learned how to make it, you can just tailor it to your own needs. So that's the third project. We also make, dun, 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 where is it? A needle book. So this, you're learning to use interfacing, filling it with rice, and binding. So they're all the skills that you're going to learn with that particular project. This is a little needle book, which is super cute. And this, again, this time you're dealing with wadding, inserting a magnetic fastening, dealing with more tight curves than the reversible bag, and just lining things up to get the felt in the middle, and just cutting accurately and sewing more accurately to get the nice kind of scalloped edge. So that's the next project. We've then got a sewing machine cover, which can be a cover, or you can actually flip it upside down, put handles on it and use it as a bag to carry your machine in. So we can do either or of those, and we just decide on the day. So that works really well. And again, it's very similar to this process, only when it comes to the sewing machine cover, it's about measuring and working out your own measurements. So we're learning that skill. We then move on to the drawstring bag, and this is one of my favourites. And this works really well as like a makeup, not necessarily a makeup bag, but a toiletry bag. If you're going away on holiday, you can get your shampoo, conditioner, deodorant, toothbrush, toothpaste, moisturiser, all those kind of things you can get in this quite easily. And we've also made it with the pockets in the inside, so that's an alternative. It's not reversible, although it could be made reversible. So that's where it's been joined, but you probably wouldn't even notice. So yeah, so you can do it with the pockets in the inside, and that's you learning layers, binding, how to make the channel, again, how to sew something in 3D. So you sew everything to the bottom and then you need to sew up the sides, and how to do that in the easiest way. So that's another project that we're going to do. Then we're getting towards the end of the projects. So the next thing that we make is a table runner. You might have noticed a lot of these products are the same colour, and my sewing machine is also the same colour, my sewing machine cover. And if you look up here, you can see that's my cover stitch and overlocker, and they've all got the same kind of colours in them as well. So I've got a bit of a matchy thing going on. So this is the table runner, which looks much more complicated than it is. And that's just about accuracy. This is you learning about accuracy, more binding. Binding is quite a big feature in this process, but you'd be surprised how often you use it. So yeah, this is the table runner. We then go from the table runner, and as I say, don't hold me to ransom if these are in the wrong order. We then make a pencil case. Now, no surprise, the pencil case is to teach you how to put a zip in, because that's us leading up to our final project, which I call the graduation bag. It's actually called the bionic bag. I don't know if it's still called that. So we make the pencil case. Now this pencil case, I actually give you the option to put elastic in it. So it can then work as a bookmark, and it also attaches to your cover of your notebook, only if it's a hardback notebook. But it's like a full pencil case, and you can even get your phone in there as well. So it's actually really quite a good idea. So we make that, and that's the sole purpose of this, is to learn how to do the zips. And that leads us on to our final project, which is the graduation bag, which has got 5 zips in it, several compartments. You've got to construct it, and basically at that point you've finished the Sew Like a Pro program, and you can choose to go on your merry way and just continue your sewing journey and just keep me updated on what you've been doing. Or if you want, you can just keep coming and we can add new things to your repertoire. So some of the additional things that we might make are a sewing machine mat to put your machine on. We've also got the mini sewing kit. This pattern's available on my website. So that's actually was my very first subscription box or craft box. And I actually love this. This is one of the best things that I've made. And I use it all the time. I'm tempted to make another one and maybe go for a harder cover to see what the difference would be like. So that'll be interesting, so watch this space. So they are some of the things that they're all the things that we make in the programme, and a couple of additional things that you can be making. So that leads me nicely on to what my current sewers are actually up to at the minute. So Laura and Nikki, who both don't come on the same day, are making these. Laura has made one already, and she's making a second one as a gift for somebody. And every time I see somebody making one, I think, oh, I quite fancy making another one of those. But I've not quite got that far. It would make a brilliant pencil case. It probably could work as like a tool bag. And certainly as a makeup bag, so it could work for various different options. So yeah, I am kind of like tempted to make myself another one. Kaz is making a little wallet, and I don't think I've got one handy, which again was one of the box projects. Let me see if I've got one in here. No. So Kaz is making one of the little Percy wallets, and Charlotte was cutting out a pattern, tracing out a pattern, so she's going to attempt to make herself a pinafore once she sources the right cord. So she's now sourcing some fabulous fabric to make herself a pinafore dress. Alwyn is making a cover for her overlocker and using the same method as we do for the sewing machine cover. Joyce is making a Manx Log Cabin quilt, which is going to be minimum single bed size. And we spent a lot of time this week just working on what was the best size for her needs. So the original plan that we came up with was actually going to be a bit fiddly. So we've reassessed it, and as a result, we've gone for bigger squares, which will mean less squares. So it'll be interesting to see what progress gets made on that. So that's been this week's in terms of sewing lessons. In terms of my sewing journey, I've been working on the cross stitch a little bit, making this month's box pattern and filming it, and I'm in the process of editing it, but it keeps crashing on me, so I've had to walk away from that for now. So I'm just kind of dipping in and out of that. So that's fabulous, and I can't wait to share that with everybody. This month's box pattern video has gone live in the membership group, and Lynn is actually making that in sewing lessons, so that's been really fun to see that get started. So it's been cut out, and I think we're going to be doing some applique this week, so that'll be good to see how that goes. So it's been a really busy week. I've also managed to get a little bit done in the garden, and the weather, hopefully spring is coming, and we might actually get a little bit more productivity going outside and not just be inside. My new office in the house is working amazing, and it's making me feel really productive, that I'm not having to come down to the shed and put the heating on in the shed, because it's quite a big space. So it takes like, I have this heating set to come on at 5 o'clock in the morning for 10 o'clock sewing lessons, so that it's an okay temperature, and it all depends on how cold it's been during the night as well. So that's quite a lot of powering up of the heating for me to spend an hour in the shed just to do some admin. So now that I'm working in the house from my little office, that's working out a treat. So that's my plan. That's my week in a nutshell. I'd love to know what yous have all been up to. What accountability posts did you set last week, and how have you got on with them? My plan for this week is I am making a memory bear in the coming week. So hopefully by this time next week I will have a llama to share with you. And I'm hoping to get the strip on the cross stitch finished by next Friday. So I'm going to write that down, because you never know. I might forget. Right, so strip and llama. Okay. The other thing I need to mention before I forget is don't forget Crafternoon Tea, Saturday 10 till 12 at Union Mills Methodist Church. We meet there every second Saturday. We have our own Facebook page, so if you don't already follow it, I will add the link so that you can follow it, and then you'll hear of what's going on and if there's any changes to our proposed schedule of visits. So I will put that in the description. CT link. And we're always looking for new places to donate stuff to. So, or patterns. If you've got a really nice blanket pattern that you want to share with us, then let us know. We use quite a lot of the Attic 24 ones, and Love, Craft and Knitting Network tend to be our go-to places. But if anybody's got anywhere else they can think of or use that we might not be aware of, we would love to hear that. So we have just ordered about 8 kits worth of wool, and we're going to start our next phase of making blankets for the community. So if you know anybody that you think would benefit from one, then get in touch. That would be fantastic. And that's it for this week. So I will see you next week, where I hope to be able to show you more progress on the cross stitch and a finished llama. Not words I thought that I would be saying today. But thank you for joining me today. It's been lovely to speak to you. And I look forward to speaking to you again next week. And who knows whether I will achieve my targets or not. Watch this space. And I would love to know what your plans are for this week. Actually, before I go, I've just spotted something out the corner of my eye I just want to share with you. So this, that wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be. That really wasn't as easy as I thought it was going to be, but this is an example of my craft boxes that I post out to people. And you get a full kit in here to make your craft project. The pattern will either be in the box or it will be available if you're one of the members. It will be uploaded on the 1st of the month, and that's the pattern that we're going to be making, and that's what's in the box. Or if you're just buying it as a standalone box, the pattern will be in it, or a link to the pattern will be available as well. So if that's something that you think that you'd be interested in, they are available on my website, and they can be shipped to the UK as well as locally in the Isle of Man. So if you feel like you fancy a little craft project, sewing project, but you're not quite sure what you want to do, and you don't really want to go and buy all the stuff, I can solve that problem for you, because all the stuff can be delivered straight to your door and you are literally good to go. All you need to do is sit at the sewing machine, get yourself a cup of tea and just crack on with it. So you can get a mystery box so you don't know what you're going to get, or there's actually a selection of products that you can make. So this was one of them. So this is one of them. There's also the sewing machine mat. And there's also a pin cushion, which is also doubles up as a paperweight. And they're just the ones that I've got handy. But I just thought when I seen it out the corner of my eye that I would actually just share that with you now. So sorry about that. Yes, you can go now. Have a fabulous weekend, and I'll catch you all next week on Tea with Faye. Thanks for watching. Bye.